Hey guys, in this video we're going to show you how to do the preacher curl. Preacher curl basically works on your biceps. Secondary muscle group is going to be forearms. And the difference between this and doing a standing barbell curl or a seated dumbbell curl is because of the preacher bench, it really isolates your biceps and allows your biceps and your arm not to move. So you can really contract your biceps. Okay, let's get started. So, key thing you want to look for is making sure that you get your armpit into the top of the bench. A lot of times, guys won't get it in enough and they'll kind of sit too high. So, show me how it looked like if you sat too high, Dan. There you go. You can see how there's too much space right here, and so he's not able to get a full range of motion. So really go ahead and sit up and really get it into there. Okay, good. And the grip you want to grab, if you grab a very wide grip, it's going to work on the inside part of your bicep. If you go with a medium grip, it's going to work on the overall. So a medium grip is basically the width of your shoulders. So for you guys who are very, very wide, you want to make sure you grab the width of your shoulders, and vice versa if you're narrow, then again, width of your shoulders. So we're going to go with this grip because that's about the width of Dan's shoulders in this position. Okay, let's go and show them the correct form here. Very good. And you see how Dan's coming all the way down and coming all the way up. And you'll notice something, when Dan comes up, he doesn't come all the way to the top to where his biceps are resting. He stops right over here. Because at this point, if you come to right here, your biceps are actually relaxed. So you want to stop about a few inches before you get to the top and then come all the way down. So this way you can go ahead and really, really stress the biceps constantly. And now sometimes, depending on the incline of the bench, if you're at a bench to where it's more inclined, you can actually come all the way to the top, but you'll kind of feel the feel when your biceps are loose. And if we come all the way to the top, where do you feel that your biceps are relaxed?
Right here I feel like it's nothing.
Okay, so you don't feel anything, right? Biceps are soft now. So right here, you can see the biceps starting to tense up again.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
So depending on the bench that you use, just make sure that your biceps are continuously tensed up the whole time. And you'll notice that his wrist is completely straight doing this exercise because if he bends his wrist, he's going to engage too much forearms. His elbows are about the width of his shoulders also. And we'll make this the last rep here. Okay. All right. Looks good. You can do this exercise with a straight bar or you can do it with an easy curl bar. The difference really is when you do it with a straight bar, you actually engage a little more of your bicep. And if you do it with an easy curl bar, you use it a little bit more in your forearms. For you guys who have sensitive wrists or injuries in your wrist before, you probably want to go with the easy curl bar. If your wrist is perfectly healthy and fine, I'll probably recommend going with a short straight bar because that actually engages your biceps more. A common mistake would be like the one I talked about earlier with the armpit, and you'll notice that when you look at preacher curls, preacher curl benches at different gyms, a lot of times they're different heights. They may not be able to be fully adjustable. You may be a little taller or you may be a little shorter. It doesn't fit you really good. So what you always want to do is you don't really need to worry about anything back here. You just have to make sure your armpit is right here on the top. So sometimes you may have to sit up high, sometimes you might have to crouch down low, but whatever it takes to make sure your armpit is right here on the top of the seat. So just like this, okay? And again, a common mistake, sometimes guys will be too high like this and they'll have too much room right here. And let's go ahead and really get that view in. If you do it like this, you're not getting in a range of motion. A lot of times you may be too far back like this, and again, you have too much room and you're not getting a range of motion and stressing your elbows a lot. So make sure you get your armpit all the way in. You go ahead and grab the bar, and then you curl up. Okay. All right. Anything you want to add to that, Dan?
Yeah, so one thing I noticed with this is that with my armpits here, I felt a little pressure in my chest. Is that normal? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's normal. You'll see that if you're working with heavier weight, you probably actually feel more pressure.
Yeah.
But with this exercise, it's really kind of hard to avoid that. So it's just something you kind of get used to with time. Definitely work on your breathing to make sure that you're not holding your breath, because that just actually produces more pressure.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing is, when the guy goes down, should he like almost touch where the weight rests down here, or would that be too low?
Well, actually, not all preacher curls benches are going to have a rested area down here, but it all depends on how much you want to extend your arm. You want to extend your arm to where, if you don't want to lock out, because when you lock out, it's going to produce too much stress here on the end of your bicep and your elbows. So you want to have a slight bend when you come down, and that should be just enough to go ahead and really work your entire bicep length. But as far as this goes, if you have a bench similar to this one, just as long as you're able to get that full extension out to here, you'll be fine. A lot of preacher benches you'll find doesn't have anything here, and you can just go ahead and just make sure you're extending your arm out to about that point. A modification you can do with this exercise is actually doing this with another grip, the reverse grip. And you're doing it with the same form. Make sure your armpit is right there in your seat. The only difference is you're grabbing it this way. And what it does is it's going to engage more forearms, and it's going to work on your brax, which is the muscle here on the side.
Cool.
Okay, so that's how you do the preacher curl.